Hi everyone, welcome back to Herb of the Week. And today I'm going to do stinging nettles, which is my absolute go-to favorite for seasonal allergies. It works phenomenal for that. Years ago I had family that was on, had bad allergies, and they would take like the Zyrtec, Claritin, and everything, and they would have, you know, yucky side effects or just wasn't doing it. And got them on what is something called D-Hist, which I'll put this down there. And this one's actually a D-Hist Jr, but the adults take this one also. Just a little chewable. And this one just has stinging nettles and vitamin C in it. Now they do have what like it's the adult one, and it's just not a chewable. But everyone I've in my family and I've talked to, the D-Hist Jr seems to work better. I think because it's a chewable and it kind of acts more like a sublingual, so it absorbs better. And I'll put the information for that down there. But it is great. I mean, for seasonal allergies of all kind, and it works. I mean, within 10 minutes, it works really well. And if you're going to forage that, please, as always, get yourself a good identification foraging handbook of some sort. And if you are not 100% about stinging nettles or anything, leave it alone. Don't mess with it, because there are some things in nature that mimic each other, and one's deadly poisonous and one's not. But stinging nettles, once you get a hold of stinging nettles one time, you'll never forget what it looks like, because that's all it'll take. Because it can cause a stinging, rash to come on you. It is not dangerous, but it's quite an irritant. So if you are going to be foraging it, wear good gloves, not even just regular gardening gloves, because it can go through that, and it can get on your, shoes. You can break in your house. Just be very careful mindful when you're doing that yourself. And if you're foraging, it's usually June to September is when you'll see it out. And if you are going to forage it, usually try to forage it when the leaves are like a bright, vibrant green and before it flowers. But if you don't want to do the foraging, you can order bulk dried leaves. And once they're already dried, you don't have to worry about them stinging you or causing any irritant. I get most all my dried herbs from Mountain Rose Herbs. Again, I'll put that link down there for you guys. They're certified organic, and I just really like them. I like that company. We've used them for years. Now with stinging nettles, once you dry it, boil it, or blanch it, those stinging little fine hairs on them are going to go away. It's not going to bother you after that. But number one is for seasonal allergies, but it has other uses and benefits. And it is a whole body support and strength and tonic for your whole body. And it's packed full of minerals and vitamins like potassium, magnesium, manganese, iron, calcium, vitamins A, C, E, your B vitamins. So that in itself is really good so you can get that stuff in. It also has other uses for hypertension. It helps, with that. And it does relieve women with heavy menstrual bleeding or severe PMS symptoms. It helps with that. It's good for anemia, edema, blood sugar, blood pressure. It's not going to bottom that out, but it kind of helps stabilize that for you. And it is a good urinary and respiratory support for those systems. I'm sorry. It helps with that. Now you can do it as a topical. It works really good and again, with the topical, this is either already dried leaves, or if you have them, boil them or dry them yourself first, and then make a poultice out of it. And you put that on the affected area, wherever it's at. Just make a poultice and put it on there. And depending on where it is, you can kind of put a wrap or, a bandage or something on there to hold that for a while. And it's good for eczema. It's good for sciatica, tendonitis, sprains. It's good for gout. All those, if you have that in an area, it's good to put that on there. It works really good. Now you can get it as like the D-Hist, a chewable, or you can do a tea, a capsule, or a tincture. Again, whatever works for you or you're comfortable with or you respond better to. Everyone's different how they metabolize things. You have to experiment a little bit to see which one you like best. Do that. And I will give you my kind of directions or whatever when I do my tea and when I do my tincture with it. Now, these are from my Mountain Rose Herbs. And so the measurements I'm going to give you are from already dried and crushed leaves. So that's how the measurements I'm giving you are from that. Like if you make a tea, I do 1 tablespoon of the dried crushed leaves, and I do 1 to 1.5 cups of boiling water. So just like you're going to steep a tea. Now you can do those loose and stir it up and then just strain it off, or you can get like the tea ball. I have both. I do it both ways. It just depends. Let that steep for 10 to 15 minutes. Strain it off and drink it. You can drink that, 2 times a day, and it helps a lot. As far as my tincture, now with your tincture, you're going to want to use at least an 80 proof. I do vodka for most of my tinctures because it's cheap and that's just the way to go with it. Or you can use any other, alcohol you choose to do, but just make sure it's at least 80 proof. That's the thing about tinctures. And so with that, you're going to just take a jar, fill it with your dried crushed leaves, and then make sure you cover that with your 80%, your 80 proof alcohol, I'm sorry. And you're going to put a lid on that. You're going to need to shake it every day, same as like when you're fermenting stuff. And you're going to let that tincture sit for 4 to 6 weeks. Give it a shake every day. And then when that time frame is up, you're going to strain it off. And you're going to keep the liquid that's left. I have tincture bottles. I put mine in, and they're always amber or the cobalt. I have both. It just gives them extra protection, because the rule of thumb usually is with most tinctures, it will last, if you do it correctly and use the right proof. It's a 5-year shelf life. Now, I've never had any go bad before that at all. But, again, I use the amber or cobalt tincture things because it gives them a little extra protection. Don't put them right in the sunlight or anything like that, or put them into, really, heated area. You don't want to do that. But with the tincture, after that 4 to 6 weeks, you do it, you can, and you've strained it off and got it stored however you're going to do. You can do like 1/2 to 1 teaspoon 2 times a day. Now again, with tinctures and stuff can be very strong and very sensitive, and like the general measurement for that when you look something up is 1/2 to 1 teaspoon. I have to do like 1/4 or less because I'm very sensitive and respond to much less than it. You have to learn your body. If you want to start out, you've never had this before, do 1 drop. See how you do. And like, you can do muscle tests with different things, and you put it on your inner arm and see if you get a reaction to it. Wait 10 minutes. If you don't, usually you're okay, you're good to go. If it's ever something new I'm ever taking or I'm giving my family, I do a muscle test, which is on the inner part of your arm, and put something there and see how it reacts. If you get any kind of reaction within 10 minutes, don't ingest that. If you do okay, then usually I'll do like 1 drop of something. I do that still. Anything new, I do that. Anything new I give family, I do that, just to be extra cautious. And then, you're going to, I always say, build low and slow, and go from there and see what works for you, what you can tolerate. And then, you'll find what works better for you. And the tincture may not work. You may like the tea, or you may like the D-Hist cap, the chewables, or you may, you'll figure it out. And depending also what you're using it for. I do, recommend for your stock, for prepping stock, is if you can, is just go ahead and get you a bulk amount, or get you some dried leaves, so you can use it several different ways and see what works for you. But you just can't go wrong. That is one of my top #1 things to have in your prep for your medical preps, your natural medical preps. And I hope that helps you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Everyone, stay well, God bless, and I'll see you next time.